Hi everyone and welcome to today's class. So you don't need any equipment today other than a strap if you need it for forward folding. But as I always say, if you don't have one it really doesn't matter. I'll offer variations to suit regardless. So let's crack on then, shall we? If you want to get yourself seated comfortably, so I've got my legs crossed, you can always take your legs out long if you prefer. Let the hands rest over the knees, lift up with the heart, let the shoulders fall away from the ears. And let's close the eyes. So let's use these first few moments of our practice just to settle ourselves, to centre in. Perhaps releasing any heaviness that's built up throughout our day. So we start just by finding the breath, becoming reacquainted with it. And then we start to take it deeper, so in through the back of the nose. And keeping our mouth closed as we exhale. Continue the flow. A few more moments here. Let's open our eyes, take our hands on the knees. Let's do some seated cat-cow. So inhale, chest up, shoulders back. And exhale, concaving. Stretching through the top of the shoulder blades. And again in. And exhale. A few more times in. Exhale. In. Exhale. Bringing ourselves to neutral. We're just going to do a little neck stretch here. So taking the left fingertips on the floor, reaching out through the right arm. So pressing out through the heel of the arm. And we're going to, heel of the hand rather, and we're going to take the left ear down towards the left shoulder. So it's not shoulder to ear, it's ear to shoulder. So down this right side, you should feel a nice long stretch from the earlobe all the way down the shoulder. Let's gently switch sides, so lifting up, right fingertips down, pressing out through the left, so press through the heel of the hand, and then the right ear goes down towards the right shoulder. You'll probably feel that one side was a little bit tighter than the other. That side is definitely this one for me. So the ear goes down to the shoulder, not the other way round. And lifting ourselves up from here, bringing our hands into prayer, stretching up through the fingertips. And now coming on to our hands and our knees. So we're going to sit back onto the top of our feet to start off with and do a couple of ankle stretches. So we're going to take hold of the right knee, use the left hand as stability, and we're going to gently try and lift that knee off of the ground, stretching to the top of the foot. So your knee may not come up very high, and please be gentle with yourself. It can be quite an intense stretch if this is your sort of first time doing this. And release down, swap over sides. Taking hold of the other knee, lifting up. Just use the other hand just to stabilise yourself. and release. So we're going to take this a step further, but if you felt that that was enough, I definitely recommend just sticking to do one side and then the other. If that felt okay though, what we're going to do is try and lift both of the knees up and come onto the tops of the feet. If you feel okay here, you can take hold of the knees, lift the chest, taking the shoulders back and finding your balance. Again, your knees may not come up quite as high as mine. So what we can do as well is take the hands behind us and then lean back, letting the knees come up a little bit from here. It may be they don't come up very far at all. Just use your breath, maybe take yourself back a little bit more and find a bit of a stretch through the top of the feet if you can. There's always the alternative of going back to one and then the other though, if you feel we're gaining a better stretch that way. And releasing ourselves down. Pressing hands on the ground just to help us tuck our toes. And we're going to set our bum back onto the heels again. So if this is massively uncomfortable, then please do come onto the top of the feet, or you can just keep taking little respites. So taking the hands in front of you, we're going to rotate the wrists, so making gentle wrists. We're going to roll around a few times one way and then a few times the other, just warming through. And the other way. Remember, you can release yourself at any point from this pose by just gently coming forward onto your hands for a breath or two. Taking the hands out in front of you, we're going to do big sort of spider star shapes. And bringing your hands down now, keeping the feet tucked as we move ourselves into a downward facing dog. So adjusting yourself as you need, making little pedals through the legs, twisting through the body. Coming back to the breath again. If you found that it's become shallow, start to elongate it again. And we're going to come back down to the ground. So crossing the legs underneath you, bringing yourself back into seated. Coming into some twists now. So we're going to take the left hand onto the right knee. Right hand comes behind, lifting through the spine, taking the gaze back. Make sure the spine is long. Use your fingertips if you need to. And through centre, take the hands into prayer lift. And over to the other side. Right hand onto the left knee, take that lift, and then take the twist back. Bringing ourselves to centre, hands into prayer lift. Bringing the hands back down, and we're going to place both of our feet flat onto the mat. So around that distance apart, we're going to do some windscreen wipers from side to side. So using your hands as stability, I'm going to take the knees over to the right, and lift, and over to the left. So they may not come down to the ground, and that's okay. You're just trying to find a bit of a stretch through the hip, and just work on mobilising the joint. A few more times. Bringing ourselves back to the start, and we're going to come into seated pigeon now. So bringing the right ankle over the left knee. You want to flex the foot, so press through the ball of the foot and press the knee away from you. Go onto your fingertips, extend the spine and bring yourself towards that shin, finding the stretch across that right side of the thigh. So if you feel absolutely nothing here, then you might want to take the bum a little bit closer to the heel and maybe the hands a little bit closer to the bum. But do not start curling down through the spine. Lift, chest towards the shin. Make sure your bum stays on the floor. Avoid lifting that up in a bid to get closer to your foot. So you're trying to keep that stretch, find that nice little edge point. Have that stretch sensation through that right thigh right now. And gently releasing. We're going to unhook and then hook on the other side. So that left ankle goes over the right knee. Let's just stop in that neutral position of this pose, just to see how we feel. Each side's going to feel a little bit different. So flexing through the ball of the foot, knee pressing away from you. Can I go deeper in the pose? Do I want to go deeper into this pose today? If so, bum to the heels, hands towards the bum. Or just stay here enjoying the stretch. And gently releasing. We want to unhook from here now and bring the soles of the feet together. So the heels are going to come as close to the hips if you can get them. We're going to hold on to the ankle, and then the elbows are going to come on the inside of the knee. So we're going to extend our spine to that. Let's just take a breath here. And exhale. And now we're going to gently guide the knees down with our elbows and draw our body forward. So keeping the spine long, you want to imagine you want to get your chin all the way over there, okay, beyond the feet. So looking at the toes isn't going to help us with that. Keep your gaze forward, keep that gentle pressure down onto the knees, guiding those down as you move and extend your spine forward. Bringing yourself up. We're going to keep the soles of the feet together. We're just going to take them out a little bit further now. So this time we're going to take our hands on the inside of our legs and come out and grab hold of the top of the feet or the ankles if you can't quite reach. Extend long through the spine and then gently bring yourself down towards the feet. So we haven't got our elbows inside of our knees this time for that pressure, so you need to guide them down yourself using muscle power instead. And again, we're keeping the gaze forward, gently guiding the knees down, extending the spine. Lifting ourselves up. So we're going to keep the left foot where it is, and we're going to extend the right leg out like we're doing a wide leg forward fold. Frame that front foot with both hands and start creeping the fingertips forward, extending your body over that front leg. So you want to keep this right leg activated through this pose, toes pointing upwards, thigh engaged as we creep forward. So if you're looking a little bit more like this, that's okay. Just keep the spine long, moving the chest forward, enjoying the stretch. And gently guiding ourselves up. We're going to bring both of the feet back together. We're going to swap over sides. So now the right one stays where it is and the left one's going to come out nice and wide. Make sure we're activating it, framing that front foot. Take a moment, take a breath in. And then exhale, let's start to creep ourselves forward over that foot, extending forward. Guiding ourselves back up, bringing both feet in together. We're going to extend long through the legs now, lifting up nice and high with the fingertips and coming into boat pose. We're going to come onto our tailbone, take hold of the back of the knees, lift the chest. So you want to try and keep the calves parallel with the ground. If you want to release the hands or extend the legs, then please do feel free. Another couple of breaths here. And crossing the legs over or coming onto your knees and ready into a downward facing dog. So stepping ourselves back, adjusting the feet, and again taking that pedal motion here if that's what your body needs right now. Or settling yourself into the static pose, fingers spread wide, shoulders rolled away from the ears. Take a bend of the knees if it's going to help distribute the weight a little bit more evenly through the wrists and the ankles. The gaze through the legs. So we're going to roll ourselves forward into a plank pose now. So rolling forward, adjust the feet if you need to. Shoulders over the wrist, taking a breath. And exhale all the way down onto our bellies. Ready for Sphinx pose. So taking the forearms either side of the mat, take your head down to begin with. Legs together. Now pressing into the ground with the forearms, lifting the head, shoulders back, adjusting the elbows accordingly so we're not pinching the spine. So don't throw your neck back, you just want to keep the gaze forward. And releasing down for a moment. Setting ourselves up for our next pose. So this right forearm is going to come parallel with the front of the mat and the right leg is going to bend. We're going to reach round with that left hand and grab hold of the top of the foot. So this right leg is going to lift up and extend, not right, left leg, is going to lift up and extend away from you. And we're going to roll onto our backs. So rolling, keeping hold of the foot, twisting through the body, taking both shoulders if you can onto the floor. So that top leg, that left leg, if you want to extend up a little bit higher to increase the stretch, then do. Bringing that top leg down, rolling ourselves back up, bringing both forearms together, resting the head onto our arms. Taking a breath or two. And let's set up on the other side. So now the left forearm parallel with the mat, bending our left leg. The right leg, we're now going to press away, reach round, grab hold of the foot, and let's roll on to our backs. Keeping hold of the foot if you can. So that top leg, that right leg, if you want to extend further up and away from you, then do if it's going to help improve the stretch for you. So keeping hold of the foot, extending out through the top leg, trying to bring both shoulders onto the ground. Another breath here. And coming back onto our bellies, head into our forearms for a moment. And then bringing ourselves back into a child's pose, but taking the knees wide if you can to settle yourself back. A few breaths here. And lifting ourselves up, tucking our toes and moving back into downward facing dog. So adjusting the feet as we need to, settling ourselves up. Let's take a breath here in. And exhale. So let's walk our hands towards the back of the mat. We're going to draw a little ragdoll here. So hold on to the elbows. Make sure everything is heavy from the waist all the way to the head. Giving ourselves a little sway from side to side. So try and keep the weight slightly forward, extending through the back of the legs, lifting the tailbone. And releasing the hands back to the mat, walking back to downward facing dog, taking a breath. Walking our feet forward to the front of the mat, taking our hands onto the shin, taking a halfway lift here. And taking our hands on the back of our legs, wherever works, and then drawing yourself into the legs. So it may be further up the legs you want to hold on, or maybe around the ankles. Inhale, gently rising up, hands down. By side, so bringing yourself at the top of the mat, standing in mountain. Let's take a breath together in. And exhale. Inhale, raise the arms. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway, fingertips to floor, hands to the shin, keeping those legs extended. And now stepping back with the right leg into a high lunge, so hooking the back toes, we're going to lift up with the arms. Settling down into the hips. So now we're going to take the right hand forward and the left one back, coming into a twist. Taking the gaze behind you if the balance is okay. Lifting both arms back to centre, taking your gaze forward. And let's do that on the other side. So taking the right hand back, the left one forward again. Taking the gaze back if your balance is going to let you. Both arms up, gaze forward. Inhale. Exhale, hands down. We're just going to come into downward facing dog. So stepping ourselves back, making some movement. Lifting the right leg up into three-leg dog. And then stepping that forward into a low lunge. So bringing it to the front of the mat, dropping the back knee. We're going to lift our arms up again, take the weight forward. And taking the left hand onto the mat, right hand onto the inside of the knee. We're going to press that knee away from us. So as you do so, the foot curls up at the same time. So pressing the knee away, extending the arm, sort of pressing your chest away so they're repelling each other. Keeping the weight moving forward, avoid the urge to pull back. Knee back to centre. Let's frame that front foot and drawing both feet together now. Coming into a forward fold, bending the knees if we need. Inhale all the way up through the fingertips. And back into mountain at the front of the mat. So same thing, other side. Let's take a breath first in. And exhale. Inhale, raise the arms. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Stepping back now with the left, high lunge. Arms come up. So hooking the back toes if you can. Back leg strong and straight. And let's find that little twist again. So the right hand comes to the back, the left one forward. Gaze forward or behind you. Lifting both arms again, taking the gaze forward. And let's swap over sides. So now the left one back, the right one forward. Again, taking the gaze behind you if it works. Both arms together, lifted, gaze forward. Inhale. Exhale, hands come down, stepping back, downward facing dog. Finding our breath. Lifting it through the left leg. And then bringing that forward into that low lunge. So dropping the back knee, we're going to take our arms up. Let the weight move forward. Now the right hand comes onto the mat. Left hand on the inside of the knee, we pressing it away from us, letting the foot curl up at the same time. Weight still moving forward. Bringing our knee back, framing the front foot, drawing both feet together, forward fold. Inhale all the way up, feet together, back into mountain, arms down by our side. Let's take a breath. Now inhale, coming onto the toes, lifting up through the arms. Finding the balance here. Taking the hands at prayer at heart. And staying on the toes if you can. We're going to come down to a really low squat. So bringing our bum down towards our heels. But please listen to your knees. Only come down as far as your body's going to allow. So inhale. Exhale, start to bend. Stop when we need to. Working our way around if you can. To bring your bum down towards the heels. Staying on your toes. Pressing the palms together. So using your hands if you need to, we're going to come into our bum and move back into boat pose. So onto the bum, taking hold of the back of the knees, chest up, shoulders back. A few more breaths here. Crossing the legs, are coming onto your knees. We're going to move into downward facing dog. Moving the legs round and bending through if you need. Coming into pigeon now, so lifting up through the right leg, 3-leg dog. And we're going to bend that knee, it's going to come to the right wrist. That leg comes back as far as you can. Adjust that shin where you need, so make sure it's diagonal. Take the shin up where you need it. Flexing through the foot. Our hips are centre. So make sure our bum's not sinking over to one side. Coming onto your fingertips. Let's see how we feel. For some, this is absolutely far enough in this pose and you feel a good stretch through the right side of the thigh. If you want to take it deeper, we're coming onto our forearms. Or we're taking our hands out in front of us. Taking the head down to the mat. Guiding your attention back to the breath. You found you become distracted in this stillness. And lifting ourselves up, back on to our fingertips, taking a breath here. And exhale. We're going to squeeze the back heel in. Take another breath. And exhale. And again in. Drop with the exhale. And we're going to swing that back leg round to the front of the mat. And we're going to come into a forward fold. So bringing the right foot on the inside of the thigh. Keeping that left leg engaged. Lifting it through the fingertips and forward we go, finding that hinge in the hip, grabbing hold of the foot or framing it with your fingertips, guiding yourself forward. Or of course, if you have a strap handy, then using that for the same purpose. Make sure we're extending through the chest. And lifting ourselves up. So this right foot is going to go over the thigh. And we're going to reach round with the left arm. So giving it a big old squeeze, drawing it in. Make sure that left leg is active. Right hand behind. Extend the spine, taking the twist back. Rolling the shoulder back. So drawing the knee in, taking the gaze back. Bringing the gaze forward now, releasing the arm. We're going to take the left hand onto the mat. With this right arm, we're going to come up and come into a side stretch. So you may want to come onto the forearm if there's the space, or you can stay on the hand if you need. This right arm is going over the ear. We're lifting up through the side of the body, finding that side stretch. Lifting ourselves up, unhooking, coming back into boat pose, chest up, shoulders back. If you want to release the hands, then do, but keeping the form, making sure that those calves are parallel with the ground. Maintaining that lovely cycle of breath in and exhale. And again. Crossing the legs, bringing ourselves forward into downward facing dog. Movement if we need, or staying static. Walking our feet forward to the front of the mat, hands onto the shin, lifting up halfway, extending up through the tailbone. And then bringing the hands on the back of our legs, drawing ourselves in. Inhale all the way up we go, bringing the feet together, hands down, by side. So we're going to do that on the other side now. So let's take a breath in mountain. Inhale onto our toes, lifting up through the fingertips, finding your balance. Taking the hands at prayer at the heart. And again, listening to our body, we're going to come down into that low squat. So gently bringing the knees forward, controlling yourself down just as far as your knees will allow. So using your hands if you need, we're going to come straight down onto our bum and move into boat pose. So down we go. Taking hold of the back of the knees to start, chest up. Releasing the hands if you want, extending the legs if you want. A few more breaths here, engaging the core, don't lose your form in this pose. Crossing the legs over, coming onto your knees and in to downward facing dog we go. Finding our breath again. Lifting up through the left leg. And coming into pigeon pose, so knee to the wrist. Dropping the back leg back like you do in the splits, as far back as it will go. Fingertips. Adjusting the shin as you need. Reminding yourself that you're going to feel different from one side to the other. So again, make sure that your bum's not hanging over to one side. Nice and central. Taking a breath here, taking in how we're feeling. And then taking it deeper if we want. Onto our forearms, or taking our hands out into the front of us. Coming onto our fingertips, if you're not already there. Let's take a breath. And let's squeeze that back heel in. And releasing. Swinging that back leg round, ready for the forward fold. So now the left leg comes inside of the right thigh. This right leg's engaged, lifting through the arms and coming forward over the leg, either holding onto the foot, hands out in front of us, or using the strap. A few more breaths here. Lifting ourselves up. And we're going to take that left leg over the right, reaching around with that right arm, squeezing it in, and the left one comes back. So lifting, extend, drawing the knee in, taking our gaze back, make sure that right leg is still engaged. Bringing ourselves back to centre, taking the right hand onto the ground. This time we're coming onto the forearm, reaching up and over with the left. Coming into that side stretch. Lifting ourselves up, unhooking, straight into boat, chest up, balancing on that tailbone. Crossing our legs over onto our knees, downward facing up. Moving if we need. So coming onto your knees now, we're going to move into what's called a frog pose. You may want to do this along the length of the mat for your knees. So we're going to take the knees as wide as you can comfortably get them. So use your hands just for stability. And your feet, you want to take your feet further out than your knees. So your legs look like frog's legs essentially. Okay. If this is too much, then please bring the feet in and do it this way instead. But this is the aim. And keeping the foot flexed, so avoid pressing them or pointing the toes, but flexing them, so they're sort of 90 degrees. And then from here, we're going to come down onto our forearms. Okay, you can keep the weight forward for this moment or two, just settling ourselves. And then the stretch in this pose comes when we bring our bum back, so it is quite intense, I would say, on the inside of the thighs. So be gentle. If you need to take a break, then you just move the weight back forward again. So let's take an inhale. Exhale, bring the bum back. Start to feel the stretch. So it does become quite intense reasonably quickly. It's really important that we maintain that length and flow of breath. Some of you may find that as you're breathing into the pose, you might have to take the knees a little bit further apart perhaps, or maybe your feet weren't extended out originally. Maybe you can now bring them into more of that frog shape, but keeping the bum moving back. We're going to spend a little bit longer here than we usually do in a pose. Keeping the breath. So in, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Few more breaths. Remember, just take the weight forward if it's become a little bit too much. And now comes the next challenge, which is getting out of this pose. So coming on to your hands, we're going to bring the feet in. Try and bring yourself onto your bum and bringing your feet out in front of you. We're going to do those windscreen wipers that we did at the beginning of the class. So use your hands for stability. Oh, that feels good. Taking the knees over to the right, knees back up and then over to the left. So just gently guiding them from one side to the other. Come back to centre, drawing the feet together. And take our hands into prayer, bring you to our Namaste sit, and we're going to lay onto our mat and enjoy our Shavasana. Let's take an inhale and slow through the mouth. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. Namaste. Enjoy your Shavasana. So bringing yourself onto your mat. Remember, this doesn't have to be flat on your back. You could have your knees bent, your feet together. You can come out like a big star shape if you prefer, whatever works for you. So let's take 3 nice cleansing breaths before you settle. So in, out with noise, and again in, and out. Last time. Relaxing into the mat now.